I'm Franklin. This is a story about ordinary guys who found themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's August 1992, 3 months after the riots turned Los Angeles into a smoke-choked war zone. The fires are out, but the heat remains. It's 98 degrees in the shade, and the air hangs heavy with the smell of exhaust, melting tar, and old anger. Jay sat behind the wheel of his '64 Impala, the cherry red paint shimmering under the brutal Californian sun. He wasn't cruising, he was sweating. The air conditioning had died somewhere around Manchester Boulevard, and now the interior of the car felt like a convection oven. He wiped his forehead with a rag, checking the rear-view mirror for the 10th time in a minute. On the passenger seat lay a thick brown paper envelope. It was stained with grease from a burger joint, unassumingly trashy. But inside was $15,000 in small bills. It was his exit ticket. It was the price to buy his little brother out of a debt that shouldn't have existed. The engine temperature gauge was climbing into the red. "Don't die on me," Jay whispered, gripping the steering wheel so tight his knuckles turned white. Not here. He was deep in the bottoms, a grid of decaying streets lined with palm trees that looked like they were dying of thirst. The sidewalks were empty, save for a few scattered piles of broken glass that glittered like diamonds in the smoggy orange light. Up ahead loomed the project towers, 3 massive blocky structures of beige concrete, stained with rust streaks from leaking pipes. They looked like prisons turned inside out. Every balcony was draped with laundry, faded t-shirts, stiff jeans, hanging still in the windless air. Pop. A sound like a gunshot, but duller. Steam hissed violently from under the hood of the Impala. The car lurched. The power steering died instantly, the wheel becoming a heavy, dead weight in Jay's hands. He cursed, wrestling the car toward the curb, right in the shadow of Block C. The silence that followed was heavy. The radiator hissed like a dying snake, spitting coolant onto the dry asphalt. The sweet, chemical smell of antifreeze filled the cabin, mixing with the scent of Jay's own fear, acrid and sharp. He looked out the window. At first, the street seemed empty. But then he saw them. On the second-floor balcony of Block C, 2 figures were leaning over the railing. They wore oversized white t-shirts that hung to their knees and dark blue Dickies. They weren't moving. They were just watching. Down the street, on a rusted porch, an old woman stopped sweeping. She looked at the red car, then looked at the boys on the balcony, and quietly went inside, closing her security gate with a loud, final clang. Jay looked at the envelope. He couldn't leave it. He couldn't carry it openly. He shoved it under the driver's seat, jamming it between the springs and the floor mat. He grabbed his Glock 19 from the glove box, checked the chamber, brass glinted back at him, and tucked it into the waistband of his jeans, pulling his oversized jersey down to cover the print. He stepped out of the car. The heat hit him like a physical blow. The asphalt was soft under his sneakers. "Yo, nice ride, homie." The voice came from the balcony. It wasn't friendly. It was sharp, mocking, echoing off the concrete walls. Jay looked up. The 2 figures had been joined by a third. This one was shirtless, revealing a chest covered in ink. Old English lettering spelling out the name of the block. He was holding a 40-ounce bottle of malt liquor loosely by the neck. "Just overheating," Jay called back, keeping his voice steady, keeping his hands visible but away from his waist. "Be out of your hair in 10. Take your time," the shirtless man smiled. His teeth were capped in gold that flashed in the dying sunlight. "We ain't going nowhere. Sun's going down, though. Gets dark real fast in the shade." A low rumble started in the distance. Not thunder. It was the sound of bass, heavy and distorted. Getting closer, a boxy sedan turned the corner, rolling slow on rims that looked too expensive for the car. It slowed down as it passed Jay's broken Impala, the tinted windows rolling down just an inch. Jay felt the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. He wasn't just a guy with a broken car anymore. He was a gazelle with a broken leg, and the lions had just woken up from their nap. Jay stepped away from the Impala. It felt like stepping out of a submarine and onto the ocean floor without a suit. The pressure was instant. He locked the door, hearing the heavy mechanical thud of the lock tumbling. It was a reassuring sound, but he knew it was a lie. A coat hanger or a brick could bypass that lock in 4 seconds flat. He needed a phone. His pager was clipped to his belt, silent and useless. He couldn't page for help. He needed to hear a voice. He needed backup. He walked toward the corner store, a liquor mart with bars on the windows so thick it looked like a bank vault. The neon sign buzzed with a dying insect sound. Lick and Deli. The OR was burnt out. 50 yards away, a payphone stood like a lonely sentry. Jay kept his head on a swivel. He walked with the south-central stride, shoulders tight, eyes moving, walking fast enough to look purposeful, but slow enough not to look like prey. The air here was different. It smelled of malt liquor, stale urine, and frying onions from an apartment window above. He reached the phone. The plastic casing was melted by cigarette burns and covered in Sharpie tags. Lil Ghost was here, 187 on Cops. The phone book that usually hung on a steel cable was gone, ripped out, leaving only the metal spine dangling like a skeletal tail. Jay picked up the receiver. It was sticky. He grimaced, pressing it to his ear. A dial tone. Thank God. He fished a quarter from his pocket, his hand brushing against the cold steel of the Glock in his waistband. He dropped the coin in. Clink, clunk. He dialed his brother's number. The rotary dial was stiff, caked with grime. Click, click. Come on, Marcus, Jay whispered, sweat dripping down his nose. Pick up the damn phone. Ring, ring. Yo. A sleepy voice. Marcus, it's Jay. Listen to me. The Impala died. I'm stuck on 4th and Imperial, the bottoms. Silence on the other end. Then, a sharp intake of breath. You in the PJs? Jay, that's Rollin' 60s turf. That's Bishop's spot. I know where I am, Jay hissed, looking over his shoulder. The street was getting darker. The orange sun had dipped below the rooftops, turning the world gray and blue. I got the package under the seat. I need you to bring the truck. Bring the boys. 10 minutes. Jay, I can't just roll up in there with a crew. We got a truce. If we show up strapped, it starts a war. If you don't show up, I'm dead, Jay snapped. Just come get... Click. The line went dead. Not because Marcus hung up, but because a finger had pressed down on the receiver hook. Jay froze. He hadn't heard footsteps. He slowly turned his head. Standing right next to him was the shirtless guy from the balcony. Up close, he was massive. The tattoos on his chest were scars, raised and jagged. He smelled of heavy musk and cheap weed. Behind him stood 2 others, younger, nervous, wearing oversized hoodies despite the heat. They had their hands in their front pockets. You lost, homie? The big man asked. His voice was deep, vibrating in Jay's chest. He didn't look angry. He looked curious, like a kid finding a bug. Jay slowly hung up the phone. Car overheated, just calling a tow. A tow? The man laughed. It was a dry, dusty sound. Tow truck don't come down here after dark. They scared of the dark. You scared of the dark, homie? Jay stepped back, creating distance. Look, I don't want no trouble. I'm just passing through. The man stepped forward, invading Jay's space. He looked at Jay's sneakers, clean white Nikes. He looked at the heavy gold chain tucked partially under Jay's jersey. "You ain't from around here," the man stated. He tilted his head. "You look like you from the east side, maybe over by the gardens?" Jay didn't answer. Answering was a trap. If he claimed his set, it was a declaration of war. If he denied it, he was a liar. "I'm just a guy with a broken car," Jay said, his hand inching toward his waist. The big man's eyes flicked to Jay's waist, then back to his eyes. He smiled, showing those gold teeth again. "You nervous? You got that itch? I see it." Suddenly, the sound of breaking glass shattered the standoff. Smash. It came from down the street, from the spot where Jay had left the Impala. Jay spun around. 3 kids, no older than 12, were surrounding his car. One of them had a crowbar. The driver's side window was gone. "Hey!" Jay shouted, instinct taking over. He took a step toward the car. The big man stepped in his path, blocking him. He wasn't smiling anymore. His face was stone. "You got insurance, right?" the man said softly. "Let the lil homies eat, unless you want to go over there and explain why you got a piece in your pants and not enough respect to pay the toll." Jay looked at the car. The kids were leaning inside. One of them was reaching under the driver's seat, reaching for the envelope. Jay didn't think. Thinking took time, and he had none left. He saw the kid in the oversized Raiders jersey pull the envelope from under the seat. The boy's eyes went wide as he saw the stack of cash inside. He didn't drop it. He didn't run away. He held it up like a trophy. "Jackpot!" the kid screamed, his voice cracking. The big man in front of Jay turned his head toward the car, distracted for a fraction of a second. That was enough. Jay moved. He didn't pull the gun to threaten. He pulled it to use it as a hammer. He whipped the Glock 19 out of his waistband and smashed the heavy polymer grip into the bridge of the big man's nose. Crack. It was a sickly, wet sound. The big man roared, clutching his face, blood instantly spraying through his fingers. He stumbled back, blindingly spitting curses. Jay sprinted. He exploded off the sidewalk, his sneakers pounding the asphalt. Drop it, or I swear to God," he screamed, leveling the gun at the car. The 2 other kids at the car scrambled, tripping over their own feet to get away from the crazy man with the gun. But the kid with the money, the one in the Raiders jersey, was faster. He didn't run down the street. He turned and bolted straight toward the open, dark maw of the building's entrance. "Yo, he's strapping! Get him!" a voice shouted from above. Jay looked up just in time to see a muzzle flash bloom from the 3rd-floor balcony like a camera strobe. Pop, pop, pop. Bullets slapped the pavement around Jay's feet, kicking up sparks and concrete dust. Ricochet. One round slammed into the hood of the Impala with a metallic clang, inches from his hip. Jay didn't stop. He couldn't go back to the car. It was a coffin now, pinned down by fire from above. He couldn't run down the street. It was too open. He had only one choice. He had to follow the money. He dove forward, tucking his shoulder, and rolled through the shattered glass of the building's entrance, scrambling into the lobby just as another volley of shots chewed up the door frame behind him. He hit the floor hard, sliding on old linoleum that was slick with grime. He gasped for air, his heart hammering against his ribs like a sledgehammer. The lobby was dim, lit only by a single flickering fluorescent bulb that buzzed like a dying fly. The walls were covered in layers of graffiti, creating a chaotic mural of gang signs and names of the dead. "Where are you, you little rat?" Jay yelled, his voice echoing up the stairwell. He heard sneakers squeaking on concrete. Up. The kid was going up. Jay scrambled to his feet. His ears were ringing from the gunshots. He checked his Glock. Safe off. 15 rounds. He heard the heavy steel door behind him slam shut. He spun around. The big man was there. His face was a mask of red pulp, blood streaming down his chest, mixing with the sweat and ink. He wasn't alone anymore. 2 other guys had joined him from the street, holding Tech-9s and cheap revolvers. They weren't shooting yet. They were blocking the exit. "You in the cage now, homie," the big man gargled, spitting a tooth onto the floor. "Ain't no police coming in here. Ain't nobody coming." Jay looked at the stairs. The only way was up, into the labyrinth. He turned and ran toward the stairwell, taking the steps 3 at a time. Boom! A shotgun blast blew the plaster off the wall right where Jay's head had been a second ago. Dust and debris filled the air. Jay fired back blindly, 2 rapid shots down the stairs, just to keep their heads down. The sound of the Glock was deafening in the enclosed concrete space. Bang, bang! He hit the second-floor landing and kicked the door open. He saw the kid at the end of a long, dark hallway, still clutching the envelope, disappearing around a corner toward the elevators. Jay ran. The hallway was a gauntlet. Doors on either side were opening. Residents, terrified mothers, angry men, crying babies were peeking out. "Get back inside!" Jay screamed, waving the gun. "Get back!" He wasn't a gangster anymore. He was a trapped animal. And the hunters were coming up the stairs behind him, smelling blood. Jay hit the 6th-floor landing, his lungs burning like he'd swallowed hot coals. The stairwell was a chimney, funneling the smell of gunpowder and old trash upward. Below him, he could hear the heavy, rhythmic thud of boots on concrete. The hunters were closing in. He burst through the heavy fire door into the hallway. The lighting here was non-existent. Only the moonlight filtering through the cracked windows provided a ghostly, blue-gray glow. At the end of the corridor, near the service ladder leading to the roof, stood the kid. He was backed into a corner, clutching the grease-stained envelope to his chest. He wasn't the cocky jackpot shouter anymore. He was just a 12-year-old in an oversized jersey, trembling so hard his teeth were chattering. "Give me the bag, kid," Jay rasped, keeping his gun pointed at the floor. He didn't want to scare him into jumping or doing something stupid. "It's over. You don't want no part of what's coming up those stairs." The kid looked at the envelope, then at Jay, then at the stairwell door. "They gonna kill me anyway if I give it to you. I gotta pay the big homies." "They'll kill you for it, not because of it," Jay said, taking a slow step forward. "Give it here, and I'll get us both out. I swear on my mother's life." The door at the other end of the hallway kicked open. The big man, now a shadow of gore and rage, stumbled through, followed by his 2 soldiers with the Tech-9s. They didn't look at the kid. Their eyes were locked on Jay. "Nowhere to run, East Side," the big man growled. He raised a rusted .45. Jay reacted with the speed of a cornered cobra. He didn't shoot the men. He grabbed the kid by the collar of his jersey and shoved him through the narrow gap into the service closet, slamming the heavy steel bolt shut. "Stay down and don't make a sound," Jay yelled through the door. Boom, boom, boom. The hallway erupted. The soldiers opened up with the Tech-9s, the rapid-fire sewing machine sound of the submachine guns deafening in the narrow space. Plaster exploded. Dust filled the air, turning the moonlight into a thick gray fog. Jay dove behind a heavy concrete pillar, returning fire. Bang, bang, bang. He saw one of the soldiers spin away, clutching his shoulder, his gun clattering to the floor. "You want the money?" Jay screamed over the roar of the gunfire. "It's right here. Come and get it." He pulled a second envelope from his back pocket, an old one, filled with nothing but newspaper scraps he'd kept for a decoy, and tossed it into the middle of the hallway. For a split second, greed overrode rage. The big man's eyes flicked to the envelope on the floor. In that heartbeat, Jay moved. He didn't shoot to kill, he shot the overhead fire sprinkler valve. A high-pressure jet of stagnant black water exploded from the ceiling, drenching everything in seconds. The hallway became a slippery, chaotic mess. The shooters blinked, wiped their eyes, and in that moment of blindness, Jay charged. He didn't use his gun. He tackled the big man with the full weight of his momentum. They crashed through the rotted wooden railing of the balcony and onto the external fire escape. The rusted metal groaned under their weight. They were suspended 6 stories above the concrete, the wind whipping around them. The big man swung a heavy fist, catching Jay in the ribs, but Jay held on, pinning the man's gun hand against the railing. "Look down!" Jay hissed into the man's ear. Below them, the street was no longer empty. Red and blue lights were flickering in the distance. The gunshots had finally drawn the one thing everyone in this neighborhood feared more than each other. "The units are coming," Jay whispered. "You kill me, you go down for a cop killer's brother. You let me go, you take that envelope in the hall and tell your boys I jumped." The big man looked at the approaching sirens, then at Jay. His face was a mask of exhaustion. The adrenaline was fading, replaced by the reality of a life sentence. He slowly loosened his grip on Jay's throat. "Go," he spat, blood-flecked saliva hitting the metal. "But if I ever see your face on 4th Street again, I won't use a gun. I'll use my bare hands." Jay didn't wait. He scrambled back inside, slid the bolt on the service closet, and pulled the trembling kid out. "Keep the money," Jay whispered, shoving the real envelope, the one with $15,000, into the kid's hands. The kid stared at him, stunned. "What? Why?" "Because you're the only one here who can still be something else," Jay said, looking at his own blood-stained hands. "Take your mom. Get on a bus. Don't look back." Jay didn't go back to his car. He disappeared into the shadows of the back alley just as the first police cruiser screeched onto Imperial Highway. In the history books, 1992 is defined by the riots, but there are other records in the Los Angeles archives. About a red Impala abandoned on 4th Street, and about a boy who disappeared that same night with his family, never to return to the ghetto. Jay lost his car. He lost his money. But as he walked home through the cooling night city, he felt for the first time in a long time that his shadow belonged only to him. Because sometimes the only way to win this game is to give up all your pieces and just walk away from the board.